Hey everyone, just wanted to go live for a bit and see if anybody wanted to chit chat on this Sunday. I'm going to try to do Sundays on a regular basis. My interviews on Thursdays and my regular content throughout the week. So maybe 2 or 3 videos through the week. And yeah, I've got some guests coming up. Where's my calendar? It's right here. It's right here. Right. All right. So let me see if I can get the chat going. Overlay. Anybody wants to chat, talk, ask questions, good. So September the 5th, we got Rib Eye Rach. I know she took the NRS, and I think she's a carnivore enthusiast. So that'll be interesting to talk about that, because it's interesting that, when you're fully regulated, but you're still using a lifestyle with the carnivore diet to, well, for me, I would call it manage, like Jordan Peterson did, and Michaela Peterson, right? They're doing the lion's diet, right? And all their symptoms are at bay, right? And this stuff works, but you got to keep staying on it. So that's no bueno, right? Especially if a person that likes vegetables, and I like chili, I like all kinds of vegetables. I love meat, of course, I love meat. But to be honest, to stay on the carnivore diet can be boring. Like, really, I like ice cream. I like, you should be able to eat what you want and have the same benefits as if you were a person that's, getting the benefits like you would be on the carnivore diet. So yeah, let's talk about the carnivore diet. I was on the carnivore diet. When was that? This was before my perfect storm, before all this shit happened. This is when I was, going through life dealing with maybe 5 symptoms that would keep changing throughout, my 20s. And then it got worse in my 30s. Then I got the ulcerative colitis. Before ulcerative colitis, I had diverticulitis flares that came and went. Just, through my teenage years, late teens, a couple things here and there, right? Whatever, things I didn't understand. And then, 20s, 30s, it was dealing with 5 symptoms that would come and go, right? And then 4 or 5 years ago, it was my perfect storm hit. But I remember about 7 years ago, was it? Or 5 years? 2017. When was that? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It's like almost 8 years ago, I tried the carnivore diet, and I did it for 4 months. And it was pretty magical. I gotta say, I'll be honest. It was magical. It was, I started to, lose weight, right? My moods I started feeling good. My moods, kind of, I guess, regulated. Skin issues started to go away. Rashes, itchinesses, even moles. Certain moles would just, it was weird. I'd have like this weird mole or imperfection on my skin that was there for like, a year or two, whatever. And all of a sudden it was just gone. Fucking crazy. And my blood pressure went down. Like my blood pressure was normally at what is it, 125 or something like that. And then at the carnivore diet, it was like 110, 115. Losing weight. Libido was like, what else? My ulcerative colitis was at bay, right? I was on the meds, but I still would get bleeding here and there while I was on the meds. But on the carnivore diet, it was no sign of it. There's a lot of things that I noticed that were pretty amazing. I remember I went down to 170. I was like thin like I was when I was in grade like 10. It was crazy, crazy stuff. And I felt like happy, and I was like, man, like, I had lots of energy, and I slept less. I could sleep 5 hours in a day, 5 to 6 hours, and I'd feel like, okay, that's any more sleep, just too much sleep. I pooped less. I thought I was like bunged up or constipated, but no, I just didn't need to poop as much because I wasn't eating as much. So I remember I rarely farted, and I pooped like 3 times a week maybe, and that was great compared to, well, my average is once a day, sometimes twice a day. But anyway, so yeah, during my perfect storm, I was like, whatever. I'm dealing with a lot of shit here. This is a nightmare. I'll just go to my regular carnivore diet. I'll start fast. I'll fast and do my carnivore diet, and I'm good to go. Okay, there's 70 symptoms. You got nothing. Watch this. Right? No, I was kind of like forced into the carnivore diet, because I was sensitive to all foods all of a sudden, and I tried it, and I did the fasting, and nothing worked. It was my go-to wasn't working anymore, right? But I understand now, and looking back, I understand now why, 7 years ago it was helping me to regulate because of what we're doing. It's pretty much the same thing as that we're doing right now with regulating our nervous system, bringing the the baseline down back to, right. See, the baseline's here's 0, and fucking stressful shit happens, and fucking you're at 1,000, right? This is 1,000. Here's standby, right? And then you're there for a couple of years, right? Toxic relationship, and then fucking it gets hardwired, right? This is your new baseline. This was your old baseline when you're like 12, right? You're like, da, 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 I'm okay, blah, 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 life's good, and then you go on that toxic relationship, or you're with a narcissist for 4 years, boom, bada, bop. You create neural pathways. This is your baseline. It gets locked in, right? You got this lock. Boom. This is your baseline, and it's there for a reason. It's there to protect you, right? It's there to help you deal with all the laggers that are around you. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just a thing. It is what it is, right? So with the carnivore diet, it's like you're eating less stuff. You're not, because all foods, especially when you're in a state of fight or flight, the body's got to deal with a lot of shit. It's got to digest all this shit. All these different foods have different load capacities, like histamines, or even you got the junk foods, you get the sugars, you name it. They have different load capacities, and the brain's trying to do 1,000 things at the same time. You got the flu, you got colds, you got this toxic relationship. It's trying to protect you from the ligers, and then you're eating all these foods constantly throughout the day. You're in constant feeding state, so that adds more shit it's got to do, right? And if you're eating the carnivore diet, you're eating one thing, just meat. It's easy to digest. It's concentrated with all the nutrients that you need. It's the dense food. It keeps you full long, right? And it doesn't have to do much digestion. It just uses it up and poops it out, and there you go. And when you have something where you're eating it like once a day or whatever, that's what I was doing, was eating it once a day. It was allowing the body and the brain to focus on other things and catch up, right? Because when your allostatic loads are full, right, and your baseline's, my baseline was probably like right here at the time. It was survival. I was dealing with survival, but I was giving it a break by going on this carnivore diet. I was giving digestion a break. It was like, okay, we don't have to put all our energy into that. We can put that aside, and we finally catch up on all this homework that we got, and maybe we can catch up on detoxing and digesting that burrito finally, and getting some circulation going, and right, it was able to do other things, and it was great. I liked it, but I got bored of it, and I was like, okay, maybe the carnivore diet's good to, for like a quick reset protocol to do maybe once every 2 years. Da, 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 da. But you know what? I love my vegetables. I love I love my ice cream, right? And whatever, within reason. I'm not going to be eating Snickers 10 times a day every day for the rest of my life. Um, but the thing is, when you're regulating, you're emptying your loads, bringing your baseline down back to zero, right? We're doing the same shit, right? When we should be able to handle things with ease. So a lot of similarities. That makes sense, right? Okay, we got some questions here, and that's why I see some people, they're using it as a coping mechanism. I understand why, like Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson, just so that they can live life, right? And some of them are kind of thrive on it. But the thing is, it's only a coping mechanism, because as soon as you get off it, all your bullshit comes back. All her arthritis, she had like a lot of symptoms, a lot of bullshit. Now that I look back, I'm like, man, this is classic mind body. If they were doing the mind body stuff, right? TMS, or, my shit, if they were on my program in 3 years, they would have the same amazing benefits, eating vegetables and meat or whatever, because they're regulated. Their body's going to be able to handle whatever you throw at it with ease. It'll be in a state of ease instead of, dis-ease and chaos. So something's got to give. Body keeps the score, right? And this is what we're here for. We're here to bring awareness and to get you guys regulated to live your life and to get out there and get your life back, right? So, okay, let's go get some of these questions here. The Caribou app has been a big help to me. Nice. Yeah, I know somebody who does the artwork for the Caribou app. She's really good. Whitney, actually. Yeah, I think I've seen it. It talks about a little bit of how the brain works, brain retraining, and how to process pain. I've seen it. Carnivore is totally coping mechanism. Exactly. Totally. Right. And I was one, and I know firsthand it does work, but it's like, well, fuck, do you really want to be on that for the rest of your life? Or do you want to be able to eat the cake, smoke a cigar, eat the can of soup, and live to be 100 years old? Like I've said this to my buddy, he's still on it. I'm like, like somebody who's not regulated could take all the supplements, do all the health things, and fast, and be a fasting guru, and be on the carnivore blah. And if they're not regulated, they could fucking die of a heart attack at 60, compared to a guy, who's living the happy life, is regulated, eats canned soup every day, one can chicken noodle soup, smokes one cigar a day, right? And lives to be 104. No health problems, no cholesterol problems, no diabetes, right? Lives happy and healthy, good weight, right? This is all mind body. I think I'm pretty convinced it's all mind body. It's all linked. And if you regulate, you can live that happy life and have some freedom. Like, come on. Like, I love a steak. Don't get me right. Like, I love eating steak. But I don't want to be forced to eat steak to survive, right? Or, eat like Sean Baker does. All he eats is beef patties every day, just so that he doesn't get arthritis. The way I see it, what thing is they don't know, right? The way I see it is, why not regulate so you can do all the things you want to do and your body's able to handle it, right? Not just the foods, but all the poisons in this world. Pick your poison, right? If you're regulated, you can handle them all, right? The EMFs, the Lyme, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not the food, it's not the Lyme, it's not the mold, right? It's just that are baselines at 1,000 or buckets a little too full, really full. It's overflowing. Look at this, right? And it's overwhelmed. Something's got to give, right? So, and if you're regulated, you can handle all the things that are thrown at you, even the seasonal flu or the seasonal cold, whatever. You might feel 2% of it compared to when before you're out of it for 3 weeks, and then you go to work and somebody else is sick, and then you got it again, right? That's why it's important. Just like Wim Hof, perfect example. Here's another example of like how the carnivore, why it kind of works, but it's a coping mechanism. And Wim Hof, he uses cold water therapy and breathing techniques to keep his, I whistled there, to keep his baseline down. And this is what I've said before, right? So you got our goals to get it down back to standby. So over time with patience, you're back to zero, right? But if you want, this is where all the symptoms go away, right? You don't have any more targets. You pass that threshold where symptoms manifest. Your symptoms are gone, but you keep going deeper until you hit zero, right? You're like, okay, I'm good. You know, something, if life throws me a curveball and it was traumatic for maybe a month or two, I'm not gonna have to deal with symptoms again, all this bullshit. I'm good because I went deep. My allostatic loads are like, right here, right? I can handle it. So, wow, hopefully that I could hopefully it was showing. Anyway, so it's back down to zero. But what you can do with cold water therapy, when you're ready, when you're regulated, not before, because then it's like putting fire. It's like putting gas on the fire. We don't do that. You can go deeper. You can go, minus 5, minus 10, 20, right? So this is when you look for a way to trigger a stress response in the body on purpose to create a target, right? So you go from zero, everything's good, symptoms are gone, I'm living life, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I want to go deeper. I want to trigger a stress response on purpose. This is where like Wim Hof comes in and why he's so resilient, right? And I did this after I regulated. Technically during my journey, I was out every day, walking 11 kilometers a day, 10 kilometers, 9 to 10 kilometers a day, in the cold, in the snow, no matter what. And that made me go deeper, right? Even after recovery, I kept going out in the cold. I did cold water showers. I was too much of a chicken shit to do the cold water plunges in the back, like in the winter. It just seemed too hardcore. I just couldn't do it. I was too chicken shit. But I still went out for walks and, in a t-shirt when it's minus 17. And I still did, cold showers. And that was plenty of exposure to bring it down even deeper. Kind of like what Wim Hof did. I didn't do the breathing techniques like he does because I don't think it's necessary. But you go ahead if you want to do that, sure. But I always say, do it after you're regulated. Don't do it during your journey because you're just adding more bullshit on your plate that you don't need to do. Because I tried doing that during my journey. I was like, okay, I'm going to do a cold water exposure, see how this goes. And I was looping for like 2 weeks after that. My anxiety skyrocketed. My symptoms went, my alarms were like screaming. It's like, no, mayday, right? It was just not smart the way I did it. So I waited till I regulated to do the cold water showers. And I was able to handle it. And I could go deeper. And I don't get colds. I get nothing, right? I'm resilient because I reprogrammed my baseline to go even deeper. Like being at standby and zero is good enough. That's like great. That's like, back to, spec. But I wanted to see how, what I can do. And proof is in the pudding. Experiencing this shit that's how you get the answers, right? So, okay, let's go back. Carnivore is a totally coping mechanism. You get a break went on it. Yep, I did a good 6 months. Yeah, exactly. Um, I did four, but you know, if you're a person that's dealing with 70 symptoms, it might not do shit for you. But if you're you're regulated, and Christmas was you binged during Christmas too much, and you created some old habits, some bad habits, and you want a little bit of a reset, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's fine, but I don't think it's something that people um, should use as a coping mechanisms, right? Because there's a difference. I want to be able to thrive fully and eat the meat and potatoes and the vegetables, and have the ice cream, right, and have a beer and thrive and live to be 104. We can do that, right? Then when you try to reintroduce foods your body does not, exactly, that's true. And I've noticed that with myself. I started getting bloated reactions, farty. Like my buddy, he's like, dude, like as soon as I stop carnivore and I eat blah blah blah, dude, I feel horrible. I feel so right. And I'm like, and that for him, he thinks it's just more reason to be on the carnivore diet because that just tells me that those foods are horrible for me. I'm like, oh man, you're just programming your brain to perceive them as danger, right? So then now you're forced to be on these coping mechanisms. But he doesn't think of it as coping. But for me, it's a good tool that you can use at the right times. And you put it aside, you get back to life. You eat all the food. So I don't know. That's just what I think. Hey, computer fast repair. Hey, mindful gardener, you are the best, bro. Thanks, man. You know a lot more than the doctors. That's my opinion. Well, the doctors haven't really helped me much. Oh, my dogs are barking like crazy. Doctors weren't never much of a help for me other than emergency surgery. Like I would always go to a doctor when it came to, breaking a leg. I haven't broken a leg, but I'm saying if something like serious happened right away, go to the doctor, emergency. And I always say it, always go to your doctor, right? This is just like that's something I gotta say, cover my ass and everybody else's ass. Always listen to your doctor, see a professional. They're they know what they're talking about. But for me, they didn't really help me much. And with experience and going through this journey of recovery over 70 plus symptoms, 3 years. This isn't like it's kind of like an apprenticeship. Like you go to be a plumber, but it's different because it's no, actually 4 years now. It took me 2.5 years to recover, but I've been doing this journey for 4 years where I'm still using the methods, even though I'm recovered, I still use them. But it's like when you're with the fear and you're forced to do this journey for, the 3 years or whatever. It's not, like going to school where you go for 4 hours a day, right? Uh, you do the hands-on work after you go, you apprentice. This is like second by second shit, right? Every 3 seconds, I'm doing this mind body shit. I was sifting through the little nooks and crannies of the fucking hell I was in, right? It was literally making exorcisms jealous. Like they were really insecure when they saw me. They're like, "Oh my god, this is no, that's scary. I can't even." Right? Like, and when you're forced to in that reality, there's a couple times I was slapping myself in the face and going, "I can't believe this is my reality. No, no, this is a dream. This is no." Okay, I'm gonna be out of it. I'm gonna quantum jump out of this. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna wake up, wake up. Right? I'm like, eh, oh fuck, it's even worse. It's even more real than I thought. And I was in denial a bunch of times. I was like, this can't be real. This isn't really happening to me. I need to get out. I need a break. I need some sort of mental pause button that never happened. Right? I was surviving every 3 seconds. It seemed like because trying to survive every second seemed easier than every 3 seconds because it's like then it's like okay, 2 3 2 3 oh, okay, what the fuck, right? That makes it even worse. But the only way to really understand how this shit works is by going through it and overcoming it and recovering, right? And you're forced to really learn this shit. right? You're gonna learn some shit, especially when the fear is there. Because if the fear wasn't there, I would be like, oh, I'll do it next Tuesday. Well, maybe I'll do it, next year. I got time. And that's how I was before the 70 symptom, my perfect storm hit. I was kind of half-assed, wishy-washy because the fear wasn't driving me. I wasn't, you know, I was lazy ass. I was lazy ass about everything in life. I had no motivation. That's why I think this is a gift. That's why I'm grateful that I went through this because it changes you in all kinds of ways. You become the best you become a different person. You're not you anymore. The old you dissolves and dies, and then you create this new you. Sure, there are some things that still, right, but mostly you're like a totally different version. Um, and it's amazing. It's a gift, and I'm so great. Like also spiritually, because you're forced to tap inside of yourself when before because your 3D reality is lying to you. Everything around you you have nothing to hold on to. If you Google any one of your symptoms, any one of your 70 symptoms that says it's going to be fucking, you can't cure it. You can only manage it with, all these pharmaceuticals. Maybe some of them, they don't even have these drugs yet coming out. They don't have any, they don't know what to help you. They don't like, we don't know what to do with that. We don't know what that is. Or they'll just say, oh yeah, you can't cure that. Unfortunately, yeah, that's not like, I would say all of the symptoms that I had, if you Google them, you're living in a programmed reality that says, no, well, sorry, buddy, that's your life now. Might as well go on disability. You're gonna suffer for the rest of your life. You're gonna, right? This is it. And when you're forced with that reality every second and feeling that reality, how do you get through it? And the way I got through it was digging deep because the only answers I had were inside myself. Right? That was what got me over the invisible bridge. That was the lighthouse that I needed when I was out to sea of no answers. I had to look within myself and it forced me to have an awakening, spiritual awakening. That's why it's the gift. That's a gift that forces you to discover yourself. And oh, it's powerful. It's amazing. Oh, one of my dogs. Anyway, so is whining. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. How much do you think fear is the worst emotion? Hey, also say cancer is mind body also, with emotional stress being the main factor for cancer. What are your thoughts? I know we all get it every day. Well, I don't try to talk about it too much because I know I can get like, some people might be like, they might dismiss everything else that I say because it's a touchy topic, just like Parkinson's or MS or the big ones that are out there. But I think 99% of the things that are out there can be resolved through mind body work, right? That's what I believe. And I see this, I see the patterns everywhere. I see, I'll ask people, like I see it with family, I see it with everybody sees it, right? People get there because of mind body, they stay there because of mind body, and they can leave because of the mind body methods. I really believe that, especially for me, and I'm only going by recovering from autoimmune issues and 70 plus symptoms. And all these things are supposed to be incurable, right? So I try not to talk about it too much yet, because I want to bring awareness first to like anxiety, post-traumatic stress, OCD, looping thoughts, gut issues. I want to put attention to those things. And this should be something that everybody should just be doing anyway, even if you're only dealing with 5 symptoms or one or none, because life will throw you curveballs anyway. So wouldn't it be good to learn how to regulate your alarm system, know how it works properly, you know, and have these, like, learn how to use these tools properly for the rest of your life and these methods. I think that would be great. So, yeah, I know what you're saying, and I agree with you, but I don't really talk about it yet. Eventually, I'd like to bring it up to the surface and see where that conversation can go, right? Hi, Helmut. I have done DNRS for over 3 years. Like you, got stuck, right? You mentioned you had multiple chemical sensitivity. Any tips on that? I am housebound and going outside is difficult. Exhaust. Okay, so um, I'm going to assume that you're doing the work every day, never missing a day. You're doing your rounds 1 hour a day. You're doing your elevating. What else is there? Um, yeah. So the only thing that I don't like about DNRS is that um, for me, I had to learn to get uncomfortable, and I had to allow the things to be there. So um, for me, multiple chemical sensitivity, I had it for a couple of months, but when I did the work, I was able to resolve it in a week. And I think that also helps when you have 70 symptoms, because then not you won't have one symptom that you put on a pedestal because you're just fucking overwhelmed with all these fucking symptoms constantly, right? So you're surrounded by all this noise of symptoms that you don't treat anyone too special. I treated 5 of them specially. Uh, my gut issues, my anxiety, muscle, my pelvic floor pains, a couple other ones that were the lingering uh, alarms that took me a while to bring down to 0, and they were gone. Um, but everything else, you know, they scared me, but it was like, well, fuck, I'm bombarded with all these symptoms. I don't really, whatever. I was able to move forward easier with them because of the noise I was dealing with. So when I had to train on the chemical sensitivity, I worked through it really quickly because I was like, yeah, this sucks. I'm avoiding all these smells, and everything's a danger zone. Everything, I was easily triggered. I remember I would in the wintertime, my windows would fog up because I was scared of mold. So I made sure that the heat vents weren't going up through the curtains and causing them to fog. So I shut all the vents. So we only had vents coming in the living room. And then I taped the curtains against the wall so that, oh man, it was crazy. My triggers and my fear was driving me exhausted with trying to fix everything and get rid of everything. So I had to learn to get uncomfortable with letting it be there, allowing the what if thoughts to run wild, let them do their thing. Not ask for more yet. That comes a little bit later, but just work with what the brain's sending me on a platter. So just allowing the discomfort, right, using your coping mechanisms in the beginning, using your avoidance behaviors in the beginning, just so that you can do the work. Because if if you jump into this work head first, you're going to be too overwhelmed and you won't even be able to do the work, right? So I had to slowly do the work, allow the symptoms and everything to be there. So with the smells, I started with because I had like a nose like a dog. I could smell something on the other side of the house. I remember I was at my mom's. I'm like, I can smell the bleach. She's like, there is no bleach. What do you mean? Elmo, you're no, it's exciting. You no bleach, okay? I'm like, no, did you clean something? I put a little bleach in a bucket that your father uses when he gets up to pee because the washroom is downstairs. He doesn't want to go downstairs, so he pees in there, and I clean the bucket and I put some bleach in there to disinfect the bleach. Okay. Do you think you can empty it maybe? Because I'm freaking out. She's like, okay, I will do it. She goes downstairs, comes back 5 minutes. Okay, so what are you going to do, Elmo? I'm like, did you get rid of the bleach? Yes, I told you. I just didn't you see me? I went to go. They took care of the bleach. It's gone. What do you want? I still smell it. You didn't get rid of the bleach, did you? You're lying. Elmo, I got rid of the bleach. Okay, it's gone. Mom, you didn't get rid of the bleach, did you? You're lying to me right now. I can smell it. How do you smell that? Oh, come on. Okay, I will go get rid of the bleach. And then she'd go get rid of the bleach for real this time. right? Yeah. So I started with doing the work every day, and then how did I start? I had a couple of things of cologne that would bring me memories, so I would use it to my advantage. First, I got a paper towel and I sprayed some Eternity. Well, first I smelled the Eternity bottle, right? Because you can have like a little whiff of it. And I would go to back to high school, and I did. This is when I did my rounds. I'd go back in high school and picture me in the years of it's like 1983, 94, the Nirvana years. I had long hair, I had a leather jacket, and I loved Nirvana. I was obsessed with Nirvana. I was learning guitar, learning all the songs, and I was hanging out with my friends in the smoking area. And all we cared about was Nirvana. We all had long hair. So it just bring me back there, right? And then I put that away and I would engage in my day. And then I did bleach. For some reason, I had good memory of bleach. So um, I sprayed a little bleach on a paper towel, just a little bit, right? And I would just go like that. And it would bring me back to when I was with my parents, when I was 10 years old, helping them clean apartments that were people moved out and we needed to get them painted and uh, a move out cleaning. So I was the one in charge of cleaning the toilets and the washrooms. My mom did the ovens in the kitchen, and we used bleach, and that brought me back there. And I would sit in there in that thought, and I would remember all the things in that memory, and I would talk about it while the whiff of the bleach was there. And then I would engage my day, and I did that every day for a week. Uh, and then eventually I would bring it closer, or I'd spray the cologne, and I'd get into a memory. And it started to neutralize the levels where I could put the bleach up to me, and I didn't like it. It felt, ugh, but that's normal reaction to have. So then that's how I started, and I was able to stop using all these coping mechanisms. So I allowed it to be there. I allowed myself to feel uncomfortable, feel triggered, feel like shit, have the reactions, let it do its thing, but don't white knuckle through, don't survive through, right? Um, and this is where you have to learn to be triggered, learn to feel like shit, learn to be comfortable in the discomfort, right? You have to learn to get discomfortable, and that takes time. The first couple of times it's so uncomfortable, it's so shitty that you're gonna have their freakouts, you're gonna have your it's difficult. That's why you ease in. um, but eventually you have to learn to allow whatever it is to be there, only in the amounts that the brain, here you can see, um, that the brain sends you. And then eventually, right, after a year of bringing your baseline down, um, emptying your allostatic loads, then you start hunting and you look for targets. You look for symptoms. Those are your new targets or your sensitivities or whatever they are. And then you drag them out. You have a flare, you have a crash, right? You have whatever pans out, a setback, and then you have them. You're at a 10. You feel like shit. You're like, oh, right? You change your response. You don't survive through it or white knuckle through it. And then you drag it out. Well, normally we go to our safe foods, let's say, and it would go back to normal within, let's say, 3 days or a week. Um, I wouldn't do that. I would go, fuck it. We're going to re-trigger ourselves and drag it out as long as I can. So I remember I was dragging out food flares for 8 months straight. And then sticking to my routine, living life, sticking my routine, tucking in my symptoms in my routine, right? This is why you have a calendar, because routine is the most important thing, right? You schedule out your week, you stick to it, and you have your post-it notes with how you're, that day I gotta get ground beef, I gotta get lettuce, and you stick to your daily routine. And that's what I had to do. And eventually things, when you become indifferent, because indifference, you're not indifferent right away, but you gain leverage slowly by taking 5 steps back, right? When you do an exposure, you feel like shit. You have to feel like when you open that door, you will feel like shit. You need to feel like shit because those are the opportunities that you don't want to waste to update the alarm system. You need to update the alarm system. The only way to do that is to expose yourself to it, right? And allow these opportunities. So, the only way to be to have these symptoms go is it's the fear that's driving it. So how do you get rid of the fear? By having more of what you're fearing. So if you're fearing, I can't do this because I'll have a crash. I can't do this because I'll have a setback. I can't do this because then the consequence will happen. But then in order to have that be neutralized, you have to have more consequences. You have to have more flares. You need more crashes. So you have more of them on purpose until you're indifferent to them. You're like, I'm living life. I'm not looking to see if you're gone. I don't care if you're there. Authentically, I'm allowing you authentically with no strings attached, right? There's no hidden, deals. Um, no strings attached, no hidden, you know, small print deals. I'm not doing this to, no conditions, no hidden agendas. I'm authentically allowing you to be there fully without seeing if you're going to go, without pushing you away. And it'll stay there while you're authentically allowing it, right? You're authentically allowing it. It'll stay there for a while just to make sure. Just like we're going to keep that alarm on. What does it hurt? Might as well keep the alarm on. We'll give it some time. We'll keep it on there and we'll see, right? And then eventually you won't even know that it's gone. That's how authentic you are about it being there, allowing it. You'll be like, oh shit, that thing is gone. Fuck, you know what? How long has it been gone for? That's how much I didn't care that it was there because I graduated into indifference by totally allowing it there. Shit, I think it's been gone for 6 months. That's crazy. Damn. And then it'll come back. Of course, it's going to come back and in and out, in and out, in and out. So that's what you want. You want it in and out, in and out. So you're always having opportunities to expose yourself to the fear with the crashes and the flares and the setbacks and the ebbs, right? What else am I forgetting? Setbacks, spikes, right? Every time it comes here, it's an opportunity. That's prime time. Every time you're faced with it, that's prime time. That's time to pounce. You need them. Without them, you can't recover. It doesn't work. It will never work. You have to open that door and face the discomfort. You have to get discomfortable. And that takes time because you're going to fall on your face. You're going to have the doubts. You're going to have the what if thoughts. You're going to have the setbacks. And that's why it took me 3 years, right? Because I'm human. Things don't always work linear. You're going to have the fuck ups and but then you gain leverage. You learn shit. You're like, oh, I know you. And then eventually a symptom, when it comes back, you're getting reassurance that it's back because you know it's going to go. You're so close with your symptoms. You're like, you guys are like bros. You're like, oh, you're back. Okay, cool. But I got this thing to do over here. I got, come with me. Let's go do this thing together. All right, bud? Come on, let's do this thing. Right? Symptoms, fear, feelings, thoughts, gut issues, whatever it is. Right? You guys become friends with you like simmer in it. You wear it like a glove, right? You consume it. You get to know it. You're in it. And you're okay with that. And you're living life anyway. And eventually, with indifference, the brain goes, okay, we can turn that alarm off. He's good. He's safe because he's sending a message of safety while being in the danger, right? Not saying, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Oh my God, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Saying I'm safe a million times means nothing. You could be saying banana hammock, right? And doing this, I'm safe from what? What are you safe from? Right? When you're self-soothing and you're showing that you're safe from what? Danger. So it's how your attitude is and how you allow the danger to be there around you. That's how you send messages of safety, not saying the word safety or safe, safe, safe. Alrighty. So I enjoy your walk and talk with your dogs. Awesome. Thank you. My goal is to be able to do that. I so appreciate you. Yeah. Your goal, that could be your challenge, is to get to a point where you're out having movement in nature, because that was a huge part of my recovery, being able to do walk and talks every day. Huge. So that's your challenge. That's your your next goal, challenge, homework. That's what I meant to say. Yes. I'm going to do some more of those walk and talks. I wasn't sure if people like them or not. So I do them like maybe once a month or something, but maybe, plus, I'm trying to do a bunch of other things. I want to get a community going. I want to start a forum a mind body forum where people can just join and we can talk about all things mind body. So yeah, this is exciting. Awesome. Thank you. What's your nationality, bro? I was born in Germany. My mom's Mexican. So I'm half Mexican, half German. I moved to El Paso, Texas, and then back to Germany, and then moved to Canada in 85. I've been here since. All right. Hey, Helmut, I have a muscle aches for the last 6 months through my journey. I'm thinking of taking magnesium to help with the muscle aches. Would you consider that as a crutch? Or do you have these? If you want to use magnesium, that's fine. If it allows you to do the work, use coping mechanisms, use avoidance behaviors just in the beginning while you're doing the work. It's just temporary. Eventually, you're not going to need the supplement anymore. But in the beginning, if it helps you, if it's driving you fucking crazy, we don't want that. We don't want you to be overwhelmed, right? So take the magnesium, and if it helps you, use it. And then eventually drop it and see where you're at, right? That's okay. I like that you tell us how hard it's going to be. I'm starting to feel it after 3 months. This is really one of the toughest things I've ever done. And I've done a lot. Yeah. So it's interesting. So my journey, sure, it was hard in the beginning because you're dealing with all these symptoms. But I remember there's a phenomenon. I remember reading up on this in the DNRS forums that around the 8th month mark, 8th to 10th month mark, things go fucking crazy. The brain throws this kitchen sink at you and everything it can at you because it's really pulling back, right? Because when you do the work, changes equals to danger with the brain because it knows right now, right here, where I've got you, my job is to keep you alive, and you're alive right now. And I can't take a chance with anything else. I'm not going to take a chance because it's been 30 years of you programming me in the survival state, right? And you're alive. You've been around all these ligers for 30 years. So I'm not going to move from here. You're alive. Good enough for me. I don't care if you suffer, right? Fuck you. We're staying here. We're not going anywhere. And if you tell them, well, there's that next room has got peace for 1,000 years, no ligers, the brain's like, I'm not taking that chance. I don't care. No, you're alive here. You can suffer and be alive. I'd rather that because I know that for 100% I can see it. I can feel it, right? So when you move it to that next room of peace, it's going to throw the kitchen sink at you. And that happens, it happens through the whole journey with setbacks, of course, but it brings it to another notch around the 8th month mark and the 10th month mark. So just pay attention to this video and watch this video when it happens, because you'll go through the delay a lot quicker, right? And there's some symptoms that are just they feel so incredibly crazy. It feels more real than the real thing. Some fucked up sensations that you can't explain. And of course, like near the beginning, I thought I was going to die like once a week at least. And I was in the hospital 3 times a week. That was hard. But then there's different levels of recovery when you go through this journey. There's different, you go through different changes, right? So the being shit, okay. So you start getting used to, you're like, all right, I got a routine. It's like, okay, 8 month mark comes in, the OCD gets fucking relentless. You're like, oh fuck, I feel like I got pressure here, right? And I got these weird sensations. The right side of my body goes fucking, it feels like it's weaker. My speech starts to go slower. I'm like weird shit starts to happen. And it freaks you out because you've never experienced this stuff. But the brain is really, really sending you resistance. And it's throwing you all kinds of alarms, right? Because it's like, no. We're not there yet. We're not, right? The baseline's not at 0 yet. It's maybe, it moved a little bit through all these months. Your allostatic loads is still somewhat, right? So it's like he's doing all these things here. I can't, no. I got to throw the kitchen sink. We got to stay here. We're not. Meanwhile, you're creating new neural pathways, right? And the brain's like, no, I don't want change. I want to keep these. So it's going to pull back. It's give you a lot of resistance. It's going to throw you all kinds of alarms, and you're going to be in a war zone, a real shit war zone. Like literally, when I say that exorcisms get jealous, that's not even close. Exorcisms being jealous. That's like exorcisms are a bitch. They're little bitches, really. When you're going through this, you're like, right? Exorcisms are like, yo, man, I don't get paid enough for this shit. I'm out, right? So, and it's necessary to go through that because you're really earning your recovery and you're going to learn everything about it. But the thing is, stay on the path no matter what. It's going to be throwing everything at you, right? Just stay on the path. Allow the symptoms to be there. Just trust me, because that when you go through those ebbs, those that's the prime time that you have to keep going, because when you pass that storm, right, when it passes, you're going to move forward in leaps and bounds, like massive. You're going to jump forward massively, right? And that's what I was doing. And I remember going back on the DNRS forums, and I was looping people that were helping me when I first got started, that were there for 5 years, going, how much you got to do this, this, this. Yeah, what you're dealing with, the blah, 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 blah. All right. And I'm like almost recovered. I'm like, hey, so you're still triggering, dude? You're still shit. You still got that problem? You're still, damn. Why don't you try this, that? And then I was blocked from DNRS. I was kicked off the forum. And because I was trying to, because people were stuck and I was trying to give them the missing piece, right? Stop doing the stop, and the resistance, because what you resist persists. And that was my missing key. The work was still the hardest thing I ever did. Yeah, the work is still going to suck, but taking away the resistance is huge. At least you can take away the resistance with your thoughts, right? And then you go through it quicker, and you make it's just better that way. It's just the right way, right? Taking away the resistance, allowing and engaging, right? Okie dokie. Tapia boys, I experienced that. Yep. No, I did suffer from MCS, but when I did the work, when I finally did the work, I was able to move through it quick. As soon as I'm like, okay, I'm dealing with MCS. Now what I'm going to do? Okay, I'm going to do the visuals. I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. And I got through it in a week. And it would come back in and out throughout the months and the years, but eventually it was gone. But that was one of the easiest things. I think that MCS is one of the easiest things that I was able to recalibrate when I started the work. But I was suffering with that for, I think, like off and on 8 months, right? Even EMF was also a small one that I dealt with, that was in and out a couple of months. And things, I knew what these things were when they started to happen. So I was already ahead of the game, right? Not like some people, they don't know what the fuck is going on, and then they start using the avoidance behaviors and the thinking, and they go down these rabbit holes, these Karen Facebook rabbit holes, and they create these different realities, which impacts their recovery, right? I was lucky that right when I got my 70 symptoms, I had the answers within a couple of weeks and couple of months, so I could do the work right away. Even though I was dealing with chronic symptoms throughout my life, but there were only 5 here and there. Ulcerative colitis, managed. I used medications to manage them, right? But then the 70 symptoms, when that hit, it forced me to dig deep. And I was lucky that I got the answers. I was lucky that I found one toxic Facebook group that had a person that talked about DNRS, and then they got kicked off. And then I saw it though. I contacted them, and I was able to get the information. I think I was guided to the answers, right? I think my higher self, or whatever you want to call it, I believe it's my higher self, my guides, they sent me to the right answers, so I was able to move through it and apply the methods, right? And then I became my own guinea pig, right? I became my I started experimenting on the shit that I was dealing with, and I tweaked shit, I changed shit, and that's what That's what you end up doing, and then you jump ship. I had to quit the NRS and do my own version of what worked for me, and I learned ERP methods. The Dare app, beautiful app. They're, it was great. Claire Weeks, right? So I started to experiment, and I found my own way. I became my own guy, right? And a lot of the answers came from failing and fucking up and doing, having trust to keep going, even though everything in my world was telling me, was lying to me. My 3D reality was lying to me, and I kept going. Yeah. All right. Okie dokie. What are your thoughts on the healing dudes saying they believe you only get 75 to 80% recovery, that 100% recovery is not likely? Well, I think you can make it to whatever you want. Maybe they're going on averages, because there's a lot of people that, this is not to say I think anybody can heal. Everybody's, nobody's special. Everybody can have, they can heal equally. No, right? You're not a special person, but unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't do the work. They jump ship. They do 10 different modalities. They're not consistent. They know all the programs inside out, but all they'll do is talk about it and stay in the forums, and they don't actually put the work in. They don't stay consistent. They don't have patience, right? They avoid the triggers. They do the stop methods. Right? Either they're doing it wrong, or they're doing 20 things at the same time. They got 18 coaches, and all they do all day is talk with 15 different people about the mind body stuff, or TMS, or blue, blah, blue, and they're not doing it. So that could fuck up the averages. So technically, you got a lot of those people. If they say, 80% recover, that's pretty good if you think about it. But if you were to put, this is my belief, if I had 3 people and I said, okay, I'm going to work with you 3 people, but you got to promise me you're going to put 100% work into this every day. And if I had them in a controlled, retreat, and I was working with them for like 2.5 years, right? I would confidently be able to say that it'd be 100%. Let's say 99. Let's say 95. Just to say 95, right? Because it's up to the person. If you believe, if you do the methods and you don't follow, and you allow the doubts to get you, and you go half-assed, wishy-washy, and you start going down these rabbit holes with the Facebook groups, right? No one's gonna recover being faced with that bullshit. That's not realistic, right? The brain's gonna hijack your thoughts, and you're gonna lose, because it has to. It's supposed to. It needs to get your attention, so it's gonna give you doubt. And some people, they give in and they go, "Oh, maybe I do need to detox, or I gotta fix my mitochondria, or maybe the motherfucker gene is, maybe I'm one of those. Oh my god!" And then they go down the rabbit holes and they try to do these detoxes, and they fell off the wagon, right? They didn't stick to it, which is sad, because when it gets hard, people are like, well, I'm triggered. Like, aren't these methods supposed to give me relief? And that's not true. Recovery, in between recovery, is going to be the hardest thing you ever do. It's fucking, it doesn't get easier because you did it 6 months, 7 months, 10 months. It doesn't get easier. No, like I said earlier, at the 8th month mark, it goes fucking insane. Right? So when people go through that, and they don't have the support, they're not doing group coaching, or they don't have friends that have recovered, that go, no, what you're going through is normal. Trust me, keep going, because the brain's always looking for evidence. And if, at the 8 month mark, the brain's not getting enough evidence, and you get the doubts, it's going to win, and people give up. And I understand. And that's why I say the way through this is to stay consistent, dig deep, have some faith, do the work, make a promise to yourself that you're going to do this work for 2 to 5 years, make a contract, write it out, sign it to yourself, and go, and that's what I did to myself. I said, no matter what, we're doing this. If it takes 10 fucking years, I don't care. We're doing this 1,000%. I'm not sitting on the fence on this, right? I'm committing 1,000%. We're doing this. And that's what it takes. So yeah, make that commitment. And talk to those people that recovered. Have them in your circle. Don't annoy the shit out of them because then they're going to ignore you and then you're fucked. Ask them once in a while, right? Don't be a reassurance junkie because that also keeps that loop going. Reassurance from what? Danger, and the brain goes, fuck, no, we need more reassurance. Like eventually you got to find the sweet spot with that. But keep a circle of these people near you so that you can keep that flow of evidence coming to you so you stay on track, right? And then you become the 100%, right? Because it's up to you. You can be 100%. That's totally up to you. That's not MCS. Well, yeah, it is. Just because my symptoms aren't the same as yours doesn't mean I didn't have it. I had reactions to any sort of chemical smell, detergents, even these what do you call these Febreze plugins? Fucking nightmare. I had all these air filters. We had 5 air filters running throughout the house. I couldn't sit in my car. I couldn't be outside. I couldn't. It was a fucking nightmare. But I got to a point where I was able to train on my wife's perfume, my cologne, what else, and bleach. That's how I built enough leverage, and I worked through it real quick. I totally agree with you, Helmet. I wasn't able to be at the store for less than 5 minutes. Now I can be there for, yeah, exactly. Yep, it works for pots. Same shit. You got to bring that baseline down, right? Take your time, bring your baseline down, empty your allostatic loads, turn off alarms, work on ways that you can do the methods where you're at, right? So, you're not going to be able to dance like crazy and run, or go for an 11-kilometer walk. But you start where you're at, right? You figure out what you can do, and you do that every day consistently. And you build leverage, and it will improve. It has no choice to it. It has to, right? That's just the way it is. If you keep doing the methods, the brain has no choice but to change. Helmut, have you ever got any of these symptoms again? Would you go to a doctor and handle it with what you know? Oh, no. Fuck no. I would never go to the doctor again for getting these symptoms because I know what's going on. Right? I've had the ultimate training by dealing with this every day for three years constantly. And if anything comes back, it's like, that's fine. No big deal because I have 1000% confidence that I'm going to be able to get out of it. And I'm not worried because it's not nothing to really worry about because I know what's happening in the body. It's sending me alarms. And it's a good thing. Sometimes it's good to have a flu or a cold because then you know where you're at. It's an indicator. The brain's talking to you. You learn to listen to your body, right? If you have something come up, you're like, okay, I like to be. The thing is, I like where I am, and it's a bit of an ego thing, right? When I don't get symptoms, if I were to get symptoms, my ego would hurt a bit. I'd be like, fuck, I'm not a fucking supernatural like I was for 3 years, right? I'd be a little bit bitchy. But I'd be like, well, that just tells me where I am. I got to start emptying those loads and bring down that baseline. Let's get to work again. Come on. And then, you know what? I'll bring it down even lower. I'll be like, fuck it. We're going to bring it, it'll put me back on track. Sometimes these things need to happen so you know where you're at, so you get back on track. But I like to, rather than have it work that way, I like to make this a lifestyle. So you're always doing it because life always throws curveballs. Right, your bucket will eventually go up a little bit. Your baseline will go up a little bit because life. We got people in our lives will pass away, like parents, right, or grandparents, or pets, shit like that. It's gonna affect us, or just shitty situations in life, right? And if we're able to maintain a good state, then we can handle these things without it being, the last drop that broke the camel's fucking camel toe, right? So, oh, okie dokie. What if your nostrils are chronically inflamed, running and throbbing 24/7? It's one of those things. I had 24/7 symptoms also. right? I had there was a lot. Well, the anxiety was constant. My OCD was constant. Pelvic floor pain, right? I couldn't poop properly because it was like a fucking wall. Ching, 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 right? So for a year and a half, I had to open my butt cheeks with a finger caught just to poop. And you work with what you got. You allow them to be there. Let them do their thing. Don't try to fix, get rid of. Don't try to take something to get rid of it, or go for a walk to burn the cortisol so you can go to sleep. Instead, you go for a walk because you enjoy walks, which brings your baseline down, which also regulates your sleep. You see how you got to make that mental shift? Not trying to get rid of symptoms, fix them, right? Rush them out the door. Not trying to forcefully trying to calm down. Well, I got to calm down. I got to fucking calm down. I got to calm down, right? The more you try to calm down, the more you don't calm down, right? Sticking to the methods, allowing them to be there, the symptoms to be there, and engaging in it. Sticking to that routine is huge, right? Doing your visuals, getting out there and doing your playtime every day, getting out in nature, but you're doing that every day, every day. This was my 9 to 5, right? Having meeting with yourself, doing all the pillars every day. I never missed. I haven't. It's been 4 years. I haven't missed a day. 4 and a bit. I have not missed one day of this work. And fucking, I feel resilient. I feel amazing. The only thing I could improve is my weight, right? When I had 2.5 years, I was at 170, and I had 2 safe foods, and I couldn't eat shit. All of a sudden, I'm able to eat all the foods. I went on a food tour. I enjoyed all the foods, and there was no limits. And while doing that for a year and a half, I created a couple bad habits. I like my dark chocolate. I like create some bad habits, gain some weight. So I'm working on that now. And I'm actually talking to Maggie Sterling. She's got a good show called, you should check her out. And she's right on the same, I'm vibing with the work she's doing. Instead of taking any sort of diet, she she works with the brain to burn fat. And it's awesome. And so I've been starting to implement some of the stuff she's talking about. And I think it's working. I don't know, it's only been a day or two, but I think it's doing something. So I'll keep you guys informed. But check her stuff out. She's on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, maybe. I think I forget, but it's good stuff. What's going on, Crystal? Lucy, what's up? Yep, I've literally been through hell and back. I know what he's talking about. It's literally insane how all this crap works. That's why people quit, because they get to a point where it's too much. It's crazy, but it has to be crazy. It has to be too much. It's got to be relentless for you to get to the other side. That's why it's a gift, but it's only a gift if you do the work and you allow yourself to understand that it's going to be a nightmare, but you got to keep doing it. You earn your recovery, and when you do, you deserve a fucking medal, right? You deserve a fucking parade, and you should have a fucking street named after you and an island. They should give you an island, a beautiful island, and go, here, that's yours. Here's $1 billion. Well, billions. Well, here's 23 million. I think that's like literally. I believe people should get $23 million in their bank accounts after this shit. Source healing. Haha. 6 months in, and I was feeling pretty good. Then, boom, brand new symptoms out of the nowhere. Yep. Yeah, 6 months is kind of like spring chicken stuff, right? That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Doesn't even make sense, but I think it's kind of funny now because I know what's happening. Exactly, it does make sense. Eventually, when you look back, you're like, everything makes perfect sense. It's perfectly orchestrated. Exactly everything the way it happens, exactly the way it was supposed to happen for me to learn. It's a learning experience, and we need to go through these setbacks and new symptoms and old symptoms returning to really learn this shit, right? Yeah. Do you mind making a video strictly on how toxic relations? Yes, I got to do that. I got to get on that. I'm going to write it down. I've been wanting to talk about toxic relationships and narcissist dating and being with a narcissist, because that could be fucking brutal on the nervous system. On your allostatic loads, I could fill it up just doing that. You know, you could have a happy life, and then you date a narcissist. Buckets are full, fucking baselines at 10,000. You know, so toxic relationship, sheepes, and toxic relationship and being with a narcissist. I think everybody has been with a narcissist. It seems like it's like everybody. So that it could be a series. I could have a series of, because I don't know how, I'm not gonna be able to cover everything because it's such a big fucking part, massive part. And I think a lot of people, not just what going through it, but what it does to you, and the symptom, and the programming that you get from it. Feeling insecure, and I was also a jealous person. I was like the worst me, and some of it's embarrassing, right? What it can do to you. Ugh. And the symptoms, right? The horrible symptoms. I beat insomnia also. No pills, no rituals, no nothing except not giving a fuck anymore. I lost a lot when I was going through that, including my girlfriend's saddest times. Yeah, but after I beat it, I felt like a superhuman. That's amazing, man. That's awesome. When you were camel's toe. Fucking right. I was gonna say. Well, I mean, what was I gonna read? When you were stuck on your safe foods, did you worry about not eating healthy or getting the right? You know what? I put everything on the shelf because you could worry about a million fucking things, right? I knew in my head, okay, when you're in a state of fight or flight, things, the body's not going to absorb nutrients properly because it's got other things it's worried about. It's like, no, fuck the nutrient. No, we got to take a little bit of nutrient. Okay, that's good enough. We got to worry about this liger, right? You're gonna live as long as if you're in such an emergency situation. I always say this. Of course, go to the hospital, go to the doctor, cross all your fucking I's and dot all your T's, right? Of course, do that. But once that's out of the way, trust your body, man. You have to. You're forced to trust the body. Let it do its work. That's the thing. We got to stop micromanaging our bodies and support it by the program that you introduce to it. This is how this is when you do the alarm system reset, and this is how you support it. You introduce a program of ease, and you get out of the old program of dis-ease. But when you do that, you're going to be in the old program, so it's going to suck. But eventually, you'll be full on in the new program. And when you're in rest and digest mode, this is when the body's able to do what it's supposed to do, and it knows how to do it. And you don't know how to do it. It knows how to do it. So get the fuck out of its way. Let the biome go back to normal in balance, right? Don't worry about SIBO or leaky gut, blah, 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 right? Don't worry about that. The body, the gut will worry about that. Your liver knows how to detox. It'll know how to get back into balance. Your fatty liver will clear up, right? Your kidneys will know what to do. Your brain knows how to create neural pathways. We don't have to be obsessed with creating neural pathways like they are in DNRS, right? It does that itself. You don't do that. You're not really ding, ding. You don't do that. It does that. The brain knows what to do. So let it do its thing. We don't have to micromanage it and go, oh my God, did I create a neural pathway? I hope it doesn't use the old one. Fuck, no. Redirect, right? No. Don't worry about it. Let it do its thing. Allow whatever's there going to be there, all the symptoms, allow it to be there. And then engage. And the brain goes, okay, turn that alarm off. Okay, let's keep that neural pathway going. I think this makes sense. It does that. It creates that neural pathway. So don't micromanage your body parts. You don't need to. The vagus nerve, so many people are fucking micromanaging the vagus. Oh my God, we got to activate the vagus nerve. No, I'm not going to be able to heal any. You need to activate it. Oh my God. When you bring your baseline down, you turn off the alarms and you empty your loads, right? And you run the new program of safety. The vagus nerve knows what to do when it's supposed to do it. You don't tell it to do it. It becomes irrelevant. It just works when it's supposed to work. And now, oh my God, we've got to activate now. 3, 2, activate vagus nerve. Is it work? I think it's working because Right? Fuck. People are micromanaging too many things, and the biggest nerve is just another buzzword that everybody's jumping on, and it's honestly it's irrelevant, right? It's like, are you standing beside your liver going, are you gonna detox? Okay, detox that. I just had a beer. Are you gonna? Okay, well, right? Maybe we should do an enema. Maybe we should, right? Is it gonna? It does. It's gonna do its thing, and it's gonna, right, without you micromanaging it and fucking. I don't know. I think we should maybe we should support it. Maybe we should put XYZ protocol supplementing. I don't know. Maybe we need some diatomaceous. Maybe we should, right? I don't know. I think we should get out of its way and let it do its thing because it knows. We will never know how. How the fuck? The more we try to know how and try to do it for it, the more problems we have, right? Or I'm gonna wrap this up soon, so I'm gonna answer a couple more questions. Your videos are the absolute best, truly one of the best in this community. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, and it means a lot to me to hear this stuff because it gives me the motivation to keep fucking doing this shit, right? Because I love helping people. I love making people laugh, and I want to bring awareness to the mind body space and let people know that there's other ways that they can get their lives back. Yeah, so yeah, they have saved me from having more freakouts and panics over this. Yep, everybody's gonna go through their own journey. You're gonna have your freakouts. I had my freakouts. I still went, even though I had the methods and I knew what I was supposed to do, I still slipped. I still fucked up. I still fell on my face. I still freaked out. I had delays, but you need them to get that contrast of what you're supposed to do next time, right? So they're golden. Everything's golden. The fuck ups are, you need them to be a pro at this shit. Um, we need to, we need to name this character Helmut turns into when he acts out what we're all thinking. Yeah, giver. uh, I'm in the major. Oh, listen, I'm in the major shitstorm spot of all of this, and have been for a long time. But I am noticing how hugely important the consistency is with this. Well, yeah, that's massive, especially when it gets shitty, because it will get shitty. That's called prime time. This is what I call it. I call it prime time. That's when you pounce, right? That's when you send. That's when you have a direct phone line to the limbic system. When you're like this, that's prime time. Pounce on it and do the exact opposite. Go against the grain of what it wants you to do. It wants you to stay fragile in a ball, right? No, that's when you leap out and be an elephant in a glass door, be a Neanderthal, right? And start moving, be a Tasmanian devil, and be like, fuck that. No, we're moving. I'm not going to be a small ball of a fragile small ball. I'm not going to be no, I'm going to be out, and I'm going to lean into it and ask for more, and I'm going to consume it like it's my meal. I'm a beast, right? You're a beast. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. This was awesome. I love it. I enjoyed it. It was great. And join me next week on Sunday. I'm going to try to do this every Sunday. So keep going, guys. We got this. Thank you. Awesome. And yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Help me grow so we can get more people aware of the mind body space so that we can help people get their lives back. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Have a good night.